So welcome back once again to the Liverpool Echo Arena for the 2017 Tumbling, Trampoline and DMT British Championships. We are moving on to the senior trampolining finals, and I am lucky enough to be joined by British Olympic silver medalist Bryony Page. Welcome, Bryony.
Hi, welcome.
It's really great to have you here. We've got some fantastic finals coming up on the trampoline. We're going to be starting off with the women and then seeing the men a little bit later. But really sad that you're not down on the trampoline. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's very disappointing, but unfortunately I'm injured, so I've got an ankle issue, so I'm not able to compete today.
Oh, so still maybe quite nice to be taking a back seat, just, you know, watch and see what the other guys are getting up to.
Yeah, it's been exciting to watch it. I've been really enjoying it, so I think it's going to be good. I'm a bit nervous for everybody, actually.
I guess it's a different thing. You can't control your own performance, so it's kind of nervous for watching your teammates.
Yeah, definitely. You don't know, you can't do anything in this position. It's just watching it and just hoping they do well.
Yeah, and it'll be lovely to see you back on the bed when you can get there. So we've got quite an unusual women's final actually today. So we haven't got we haven't got yourself, we haven't got Pamela Clark, last year's British champion. We have got Kat Driscoll still down on the trampoline though, obviously your teammate in Rio. So do you think she's one of the favourites to take the championship today?
She's definitely going in. She's had amazing training. I think she's got a lot to pick up from yesterday. Unfortunately, didn't go very well for her, so she'll be having to refocus and show what she can do today. She'll be really wanting to do a best routine and almost put yesterday behind her and make this routine the best that she can.
Yeah, she's a really experienced competitor though. She's, you know, been in many British championships as well as World, European, Olympic Games. So certainly she'll have the sort of mental constitution to be able to do that. But tell me a little bit more about our first place qualifier. So Laura Gallagher from Quayside, kind of a new name to some people maybe?
She's been around for a long time with us. She's a European team champion and world champion with us, and she's been, individually medalled at European championships before. So she's very experienced. She's kind of coming back from injury and a bit of time out. So this competition for her is going to be, you know, she's going to feel a bit nervous for it, but I think she's in a really good place, especially kind of leading the British women at the moment. So she's shown that she can do that, and yeah, she works so hard. She trains ridiculously hard. So hopefully, you know, this she can show what she can do in training today. Yeah,
so if she has a good competition, she'll be really happy to sort of get her hands potentially on that gold medal.
Definitely.
So as well as the British girls, we've also got a number of Chinese competitors in this final too. They're competing here as guests, so they will receive a score, but they're obviously not eligible to receive a championship medal should they, you know, place in the top three. How useful do you think it is for both those Chinese girls coming over, for them to have a bit of extra experience, but also for the British girls to see sort of how they work, how they train, how they compete?
Yeah, it's good because it's like mutually beneficial for both parties. Obviously, inviting the Chinese over here, it's not their A team, but they're very competitive. China is a very leading country when it comes to trampolining. So having people very competitive here, and you know, you've seen by the scores that they're doing very well and they place well within our British women. So it brings that bit of competition edge to all the competitors here today. They'll be wanting to show off everything that they can do. I think for the Chinese women coming in, they get to, you know, experience being away from their home country and their home environment to compete. They get to be here. They get to be in the most amazing Echo Arena in Liverpool. So, you know, it's a very well-run competition, and for them, they'll be wanting to show their stuff to a foreign crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be an action-packed final. So for some of us that may be new to trampolining, could you give us like maybe a top 3 things to look out for? You know, what should we be looking for in these routines? What's a good trampolining routine?
Yeah, so trampolining is you judge it on execution. So that's the judges are human eye. They want to see clean lines, early exits, and there's a new score today, which is it's been added in this year, which is horizontal displacement, and that's normally done by the judge's eye, but now it's calculated a little bit differently, and you want to stay inside that box on the trampoline, and if you go outside that box, you'll then lose scores. So obviously you want to be in the middle. So you want to be you get marked on your time of flight, which is how high you jump. So if you see a competitor that is jumping really high and is able to maintain that height, they'll score much better. And the final thing that is measured in trampolining is the difficulty. So it's a tariff score, and depending on how hard your skills are will depend on what score you get.
Excellent. So we'll be looking out for all of those little bits and bobs. It's a very technical sport, isn't it? Loads of little things to look out for. But it does look like we're ready for our first competitor. So from Olga, this is Isabel Songhurst.
She's maintaining her height quite well here. And there's a full tucked in to finish the routine there. I think she'd be happy with that routine. She held it well. There's a little bit of travel in the middle to the side of the routine, but she held it well, and I think she'll be pleased with that.
And how costly can something like that travelling be?
Sorry?
How costly can travelling be? So, you know, is it a particular number of tenths per time you bounce each way, or?
Yeah, so if you exit outside of the box, there's a central box, and if you land in that, you don't lose any marks. If you land on the two boxes in the rectangle in the middle, you lose 0.1. If you're on the side boxes or the far end boxes, you lose 0.2, and if you're on the corner, you lose 0.3. So that's per skill. So for her, not only would she lose marks for going out into the side of the trampoline, but also that's not very powerful there, so she might lose a bit of time of flight.
Okay, yeah, so it all adds up pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So I've been amazed this morning at how quickly the DMT get their scores out. Like, the judges are so much quicker than anything I've ever seen before. Is trampolining pretty similar? Do you know when they finish their routine, you've not got long before the next guy's up?
Yeah, there's not too much time. The judges all put their scores in. Obviously, they've got to mark 10 skills as opposed to DMT, where it's 2 and a landing. So there's more elements there to be judged. But it's all done on a computerized system now, so it's calculated pretty quickly, and you have all the different scores that are put in and totalised.
And there we go. Talking of quick turnarounds, we've got our next competitor ready to go. So here we are with Kat Driscoll from Apollo.
And Kat finishes the routine with a full stroke. You can hear the crowd. She's such a fan here. That's a really, really strong routine. You can show, it just shows how experienced she is to kind of fight back from yesterday and show that incredible routine. Really, really strong. A lot of height. In that box there. Good line outs. Really strong kick outs and good shapes. She should be happy with that, and I think she will be.
Yeah, really nice form throughout. You can really tell the sort of quality of her gymnastics, just legs locked together, beautifully straight where they need to be. And actually, she travelled quite early on in that routine, but really showed her experience to kind of adjust herself, brought herself back to the middle of the bed.
Yeah, it's all about the adjusting. You know, if you make a mistake early on, it's just about refocusing as quickly as you can to the next skill and moving forwards, and she did that incredibly well, and that was a very strong routine.
Nicely done. So 2 routines underway already. We've got Amanda Harris coming up next from Northamptonshire. She comes into this final in 3rd place. Just a whisker ahead of Kat Driscoll. And she'll be trying to put in a good performance to see if she can stay there.
Pike drift to start. She's held that well. She was on the side there. Pushing it back. 2 triples in this routine. Keep going. Half out pike. And full straight to finish. Yeah, I'm really, really pleased with her. She works again very, very hard. And yeah, it's nice to see 3 strong routines from her. at this competition, and you can tell it means a lot. So pike twist to start, that's 3 somersaults all in one in the piked position and a half twist in the final somersault.
The spatial awareness that these guys have to be able to sort of kick out, understand where the bed is, and to keep going for 10 skills in a row is really quite remarkable. How is that something that you train for? You know, the first time you put that on the bed, it must be, I can only imagine it'd be terrifying.
Yeah, I think you need a little bit of an element of bravery when it comes to trampolining, but it's just practice and training it, and you do progression. So there's a lot of training that goes into it, and you know, you have coach that can give you feedback and video feedback as well. So it's just keep practicing it and learning from the coach's experiences.
And in the run-up to competitions like this, how many routines might you be putting in a session to, you know, get that consistency and to feel really confident about the routine?
Yeah, by this point we'll hopefully have done hundreds of routines in the past, and we might be doing at the start of an Olympic cycle like today. At this competition, there might be people that are trying out new skills and new combinations, but they would have trained them so many times before, but it would just be maybe the first time that they've competed it, or you know, the first couple of times they competed it.
So we've got our first Chinese competitor up now, but I've just noticed Kat's run over to the corner. So is she being the spotter for this routine? Is that a thing that happens frequently, that the gymnasts themselves have to do the spotting too?
That doesn't normally happen. Normally you have designated spotters, but they might have just fallen short today. So it just shows that she's finished her competition and she's a great sport. You know, she wants to support the other competitors. So it's just showing that she can be helpful, and she's just there to catch them if they fall.
Yeah, fantastic commitment.
Just a few single skills there to keep her going. Finishes with half out tuck. Oh, and she finishes with a straight back there, just a single somersault. Quite a simple routine, but the Chinese have excellent execution. So her execution score might be all right there. So there was a bit of travel, so her horizontal displacement might be down. Time of flight will be down maybe because of that, and you know, you could tell that she had a few singles there, so that normally means that they've either chosen a different tactic or the routine hasn't gone how they've planned and they've had to make adjustments.
It must be so hard to change a routine midway through if it hasn't quite gone right. So if one routine doesn't, if one skill doesn't quite work, I mean, how quickly do you have to think on your feet, or will you've, you know, trained for all the possibilities of if this one goes wrong, I'm going to do this, or?
Yeah, you do have different possibilities. You normally have a few skills that you can put in if you know that you haven't competed before, and it's not going to be a repeat skill. That may be a little bit simpler. It just shows that maybe she's made a few too many mistakes there that she'd had to finish with several single skills. But you have experience of dealing with that in training, so it's just seeing how quickly you can react in the competition.
Certainly expertly done. As we get ready for our next guest competitor, this is Wu Wanyi, also a member of the Chinese national team.
Just getting her composure there. Really high jumper here. Lots of height. A tuck drift to start. Right in the middle. Really out pike. She's just lost a little bit of leg form there. Bit of travel. And finishes with a full straight. A little bit of instability at the end for her out jump. She had to add another bounce there. That was quite noticeable, so the judges might take scores off of that, but she held that routine really well. You could see the lines in her line outs, the clean straight body line is what the judges will be looking for. There's a little bit of leg tension that they lost in that midsection and a bit of travel, but that was a good solid routine, and it had a lot of time of flight there. It's a very high routine.
So how much does time of flight contribute to your score? I understand, is there like a laser under the bed that kind of measures when you're at the bottom, and how does that whole thing work?
Yeah, so it's kind of like goal line technology. So the laser measures when you hit the trampoline and when you leave it. So it measures that time when you're in the air, but not when you're in the bed of the trampoline. So it just measures kind of the power that you have and the control that you have over the trampoline. So it measures a little bit of strength there and technique, obviously. It is a component of the total score, and it does make a lot of it. So it is a very important component, and it's recently been added in the last Olympic cycle. So it's quite interesting to see how that's developed over the last 4 to 5 years now.
And talking of people who are flying high, we've got the final competitor here contending for this British title, our first place qualifier, Laura Gallagher from Quayside.
Two to start, keep it together. There's a little bit of trouble, but she's brought it back. She's fighting this, it's looking good again. Half up pike. And full straight to finish. That was a really good effort from Laura there. I think she's very, very happy to complete that routine with great form, great time of flight. A little bit of trouble right at the start, but she managed to pull it together, and you can just see how much that means to her. I've got goosebumps.
It's so nice when you see the gymnasts come off the apparatus just with that smile in their face. You know that they're absolutely ecstatic with what they've done.
There's a massive pike drift at the start. That's 3 somersaults, pike just in, half twist at the end. 2 drifts this routine had, 2 triple somersaults, and the rest made up with doubles, multiple twisting doubles. This is where she brings it back, and she fights hard, and she gets her height back, gets more control, comes into the middle of the trampoline and finishes with a massive smile on her face. You know, for Laura to come back after that timeout, she's done fantastically well, and it's so nice to see that smile on her face, and you know how much it means to her. So yeah, as I've trained with Laura before and done synchro with her, so yeah, really, really happy for her.
Oh, fantastic job there, and you can see the sort of Chinese coaches congratulating her on her way back. They obviously know she's done a really good job. And there we go, confirmation that she has popped to the top of the rankings, 156.165 her total, and she will be the 2017 Senior Women's British Champion. So, the British Championship may be decided, but we do still have 2 gymnasts to come. They are guest gymnasts from the Chinese team. The first of those is Liu Hui.
She's just building her height up, quite relaxed on the trampoline here, but I'm sure her legs are so powerful. You can see that she's jumping massively high with what looks like very little effort. Starting to gain control now. Taking a bit of time here to compose herself. There she goes. Pike drift to start. Door back tuck with massive kick out. Just a little bit in the corner, she brings it back into the middle. Great lines. She's lost a little bit of height here, travelling a little bit corner to corner, but she's maintaining it well. And she finishes her routine with a single somersault in a straight position. It was a good fight of a routine. The Chinese always shows great lines. No matter where they are on the trampoline, they always fight to get that early line out, and you can see in that double tuck there, that beautiful straight body line, and she makes that every single time, no matter where she is on that trampoline.
Yeah, it was a really powerful kick out as well, not just kind of, you know, leisurely getting into that straight position, but really, really strong.
Yeah, the judges want to see an early kick out, so for them to almost, if you think of it as a clock between like around 12 o'clock, they'd want to be able to see that, and they want to go from their shape as quick as they can out into that straight position. So the quicker the better, and the earlier gives you that little bit more control and preparation for the next skill. So not only does it look nice, but it's also technically it will help you out in the routine and to finish that.
She looks a little bit disappointed with that routine, certainly not expressing, you know, super happy emotions as she's got off the bed. Do you think maybe she had to make a bit of an adjustment at the end?
I think with the straight back, it does often show maybe a little bit of a decision to make that change of the routine. It hasn't quite been going well. Maybe she felt a little bit lower than she normally does, or a bit unstable, but you could see halfway through the routine that she was travelling kind of almost a little bit corner to corner, so she wasn't quite square end to end. So that might have put her off a little bit, but it was strong routine, just that little bit of not quite finishing her twist, or we're not sure why that happens sometimes, but it just wasn't quite in the middle and square.
So just one competitor left to go in this final. It's another one of our Chinese guests. She was the top scorer in the qualifying competition yesterday. So from China, this is Huang Yangfei.
She's jumping extraordinarily high here. There she goes. Pike trift to start. Half in a pipe tuck. And her second triple. A little bit of forward travel there. Brought it back. Great lines again. Pushing hard. Finishes with a full straight. And she's happy with that routine. It's really, really strong. Great line outs. Whenever she travelled out of that box, she brought it back the next skill. Shows great adjustment to any mistakes that she's made.
Just fantastic difficulty as well throughout that routine, really built with every single skill.
You can see that straight body line that I've been mentioning before. The Chinese are experts at that. Yeah, very, very high routine.
So a little bit of travel, not too much to take off in the air, and a great difficulty. Do you think that's going to be the highest score of the day?
I'm really not sure. I think horizontal displacement might come in there. It would be very interesting to see where that fits in.
So there we go, confirmation.
And I see wave into the camera there.
Certainly got some very happy gymnasts down on the ground. So as we said earlier, the Chinese competitors aren't eligible for a medal, but Huang Yangfei did manage to put in the top total for the day, 158 her score. But to confirm the British Championship medals then, in third place and taking home the bronze medal with 149.91 from Northamptonshire, Amanda Harris. Taking the silver medal with 151.41 from Apollo is Kat Driscoll. But our 2017 British champion is Laura Gallagher. And she looks really delighted though with that result. That's, you know, that's a true smile, isn't it? Looks like she might have shed a tear or two as well.
Yeah, you know, she's been training for this for a really long time, and you know, this will be her first British Championships gold at the senior level. So, you know, she's been wanting a title at this, but she's been fighting. She's just come back from strength to strength, and it's just really, really nice to see it for her just happen for her today.
Yeah, all of these athletes put in so much hard work. You know, we watch the competitions and we see them for a minute on the trampoline, but actually the hours and the weeks and the years of work that goes into producing a routine and a result like that is something pretty special.
Definitely.